This is the facts and data show. You want the hysteria show? Go to the Drudge Report, MSNBC, and CNN that want you to believe everybody's going to die. Now, hat tip to my wife, Paula. I always do that for the production, but for content, we rarely go, this is a one-way street. I usually send her stuff. She helps me, fixes it up in the show. We were driving home last night. I gave a speech at the excellent Club 45 down in Palm Beach. Hat tip to them, one of the best pro-Trump clubs in the country. And we were driving home, and she was reading this fantastic article she found. Now, it's by Regenex, which is a private company, but it's by this doctor, Chris Centeno, MD, March 8, 2020. And the title is Why I'm Not Concerned About the Coronavirus. Again, I'm trying to dial down the hysteria and give you facts and data. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an excellent piece. I get it. It's at the Regenex. But with all the hysteria we're getting from the Washington Compost and the slimes, I'll be honest with you, I'd rather take it from a doctor than from those people because they're all nuts. Chris Hayes, Wuhan is racist, whatever. Take a seat. Let the serious people talk. Let the adults handle this. This article will be in the show notes. I strongly, strongly encourage you to read it. If you want to read my show notes, bongino.com/newsletter. Go there, subscribe. Ladies and gentlemen, we do not spam your inbox. I will send you these articles every month. This is worth your time. Let me give you the 2 takeaways I took from this, which I think you'll definitely be interested from this doctor. Again, this is his opinion. Not mine, but I feel like in light of all the hyperbolic bad news, you deserve some potential good news too. Takeaway number 1. How lethal is COVID-19, which we're calling the Wuhan virus? Well, quote from this piece by this doctor. The most accurate data on case fatalities, Joe, is from the only natural experiment we have now, the Diamond Princess cruise. Why this Diamond Princess cruise ship? Because it was a closed environment where we can accurately measure every person who gets sick, and we know the real number of people who perish based on that specific exposure. The cruise ship data, ladies and gentlemen, shows a fatality rate, which we've been told is upwards of 4%. The cruise ship data shows a fatality rate of 0.85%. All of the people that perished, again, tragically so, not meaning to downplay this, but facts matter. All of the people that perished were over 70, which is much more like the seasonal flu, again, quoting this piece. In addition, the ability of the virus to spread was, again, we addressed this yesterday. What is the R0, the R0? How contagious is this? He says the ability of the virus to spread was, again, not that impressive. It was only about 20% of the people got the virus. So while this bug is nasty, again, quoting the piece, it's not the middle-aged killer the media has been making it out to be. Folks, I cannot hammer this enough every single day on my show. To my audience who I love to death, you've made my life such a pleasure to live every single day, even in the midst of these crises. It's not a question, is this serious? That question has been asked and answered. Yes, it is very serious, and very serious to people over the age of 60 and 70. The question is it serious enough that we should all be hoarding up in our house, buying 7 years of toilet paper, 32 years of salt and pepper, bars of soap, water purification machines? I'm all about preparedness all the time. You should always be prepared all the time. The question is, should we be prepared for the end of times due to this? And the data, in this doctor's opinion, in this piece, his opinion, is no. The response to this and the massive sell-off and the economic ramifications are going to be nasty if we don't get a hold of the response quickly. Takeaway number 2 from this piece. Why the huge difference in death rates? As the doctor here, Chris Centeno, addressed before. He says, well, listen, we're getting these death rates of 4%, but the cruise ship is showing less than 1%. Why? This is a brilliant point. This is what Paula found. The piece. She's like, Dan, you got to listen to this. She was reading it to me last night. I'm like, send me that. Quote, first, the death rates in the first part of any outbreak are always wildly inflated, folks. Why? Because they're based only on the number of people who are sick and are tested for the virus, while ignoring the greater number of people who contract the virus, get a little sick for a few days, and never get tested at all. When you add in all of those healthy people who shrug the virus off, the death rates almost always plummet. Now, A couple of other things. Why are the death rates so much higher in China? So he lists some science-related topics on it. The links are in the piece. Again, bongino.com/newsletter. You can read them yourself. He links to some good to some good scientific links there. But he goes on. Why are the death rates inflated in China? He said there are other factors that could explain the differences. It's a brilliant point. For example, 2/3 of Chinese men smoke, compared to 15% of U.S. men. China also has severe air pollution compared to the United States. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, is there a pre-existing lung tissue compromise situation with a lot of these men from the elevated levels of smoking and air pollution that is exacerbating the fatality rate, the death rate of coronavirus in China? These are all substantive, serious questions. They may not, they may so, but they're worth asking why we had this isolated environment. And again, the cruise ship's not a perfect study. There's no control variables instituted, but it's something we should look at. It's a real world population kind of survey more than anything. But why are these fatality rates so different? And the answer may be because a lot of people are getting corona and don't even know it. They think they have a common cold or allergies and they're recovering. They're not the ones being reported. You're only getting a report amongst a larger, sicker pool that's going to the hospital. And secondly, the Chinese death rates may be inflated because of some pre-existing lung damage due to different environmental conditions. Doesn't make it less serious over there, but it makes it worth considering, again, based on the response. I can't say this enough. We put a price on things every day. We put a price on our own safety. Why don't you live in a bank vault? You live in a house where someone could break in tomorrow. Why? Why don't you spend all of your money armoring your windows? Because it's not worth the risk to you. You're like, I'll take my chances. But you do it all the time. Why are we not doing this with this? And is everybody, we're selling off the stock market. There's mass economic panic going on right now. Is that commensurate with the threat? The only way we'll know that is when we get good information. And that's what we're here to do.
You just heard The Dan Bongino Show. You can also get Dan's podcasts on iTunes or SoundCloud. And follow Dan on Twitter 24/7 @DBongino.